good time for a good take.
Welcome back to another episode of Good Takes. And today we are excited to dive into our top five favorite movies. So we'll each be sharing our ranking of our top five favorite movies, and we'll be prepared to defend our case. Ready to dive in, Sam?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I don't know about you, Sam, but I really struggled to pull together a list of simply top five movies. There are many
Agreed.
that I wish I could show. The struggle's real, huh?
No, it's very tough. Because obviously there's hundreds, thousands of movies out there. We've seen a lot. We grew up in a household where we watched movies all of the time, especially with our parents and whatnot. And they're very formative as you grow old, and it's hard to cut one. And I feel like it could change by the day. But I
True.
think I got a list where if I was presented with it, I would always be like, yeah, I can see that. So that was kind of my guiding my Northern Star here.
That's a really good point because that is true. I do think, depending on the day of the week, my tops can shift a little bit. But I put some thought into this ranking. So I think this is a fair assessment. Excited to see what your picks are. And we may have some similarities, but I guess we'll find
For
out.
those watching, we're going in blind. I don't know what Katie's list is, and she doesn't know mine. We can probably imagine where number one might be, but so it'll be interesting. And I don't know. I'm curious to see if there will be any overlap.
I guess we'll find out. Okay, so I really considered this because it is one of my favorite movies of all time. But Jurassic Park absolutely needs an honorable mention on my list. It's interesting and should maybe be studied as to why, but dinosaurs were such a fundamental part of childhood in the 90s. And I
Definitely.
would say that Steven Spielberg's classic film definitely played a major role in increasing its popularity. So the film's actually based on a book by Michael Crichton. And, I won't get into the story. All you really need to know is there's a theme park filled with real life dinosaurs that have been cloned from DNA found in mosquitoes. Paleontologist Alan Grant is on the case to give it its safety credentials check so they can open to the public. Chaos ensues. Is the park safe? We'll find out on this journey. It's obviously a
Should they
quintessential
have ever
90s
gone
film.
down that endeavor? I don't know.
Well, a
Never
moral
stop to
question that
think.
you could certainly ask. Yeah, I would say that that was on no one's mind. I don't think anyone was going to stop for any moral purposes, although Jeff Goldblum's character does
What's
bring
Jeff?
that up
What's
quite
his
a bit.
character's name? Yeah.
Oh, I call it my favorite, and I can't even remember his name. I mean, I know
Yeah, me
that
neither.
Sam Neill is Alan Grant. I don't remember Jeff
Um,
Goldblum's character's name, but he's iconic.
no, I
And
can't
that
either.
laugh, little
Yes,
gif
yes.
has gotten us all through some hard times.
No,
But
Jurassic
it's a
Park
great
is
movie.
an awesome movie. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah,
Um,
for
yeah,
sure.
it still holds up too, like with the animatronics.
Oh my God. Well, they like revolutionized the use of CGI, but it still does hold up pretty well. I mean, that's not my
It
forte,
really
but
does. No,
I enjoy
I
it.
saw it. I watched it again in the last year. I was surprised at how well it holds up. It's a fantastic film.
Impressive.
It's a good
It's a
runner-up.
great film. And I love the camaraderie between the brother sister duo. It's very good takes coded. So it deserved an honorable mention on my list.
So hard to choose. The honorable mention that I would settle on would be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. A lot of this comes from influence from our father, but over the years, outside of just the boyish love for westerns, it's a perfect film. Um, Not enough for top five, I guess, but it's one of these spaghetti westerns, meaning it was shot in Italy, very cheap at the time, and I believe it's from the 1960s. Someone can correct me. And it's essentially about three uh, varying degrees of quality characters who are searching for gold in the Confederate United States during the Civil War. It's a fantastic Western. The music in it is incredible. It's a very patient movie. You have to sit there, and it is kind of a slow burn, but that's one of the reasons why I love it. Those Westerns from those times, but specifically this one, it's even though they're rooted in a history that's not so far removed, it still feels so mythological. The characters are great. The relationship between Tuco and Blondie, the Clint Eastwood character,
I was
is
just going to ask you
hilarious.
which one is Clint Eastwood because that's really my main takeaway from the movie, but a classic
Oh,
Clint
it's so
Eastwood
cool.
film.
The swag, the aura off this guy with his all the little cigars and his poncho.
The poncho. Love that
And no
poncho.
spoilers, but the climax is well worth the wait. And it's just I don't know, you feel like it's like up there with one of the mythological stories of the past. Like it just has that tone to it. I can't really explain it beyond that, but it's a fantastic film. A little old now comparatively, but
Little
still well
dated,
worth a
but
watch.
holds up. Oh, our father would be so
Definitely
proud to hear you say this. And it's so funny you bring up the music because that little wah 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 is like the
iconic.
classic Western music that you think of
The
anytime
Ecstasy
you
of
think of a
Gold.
Western.
It's purely fantastic.
Well, starting off strong with the honorable mention, so I can only imagine we're going to go up from here. But I think this is an important time to note that we are once again going through our favorite films. So this is a caveat for some of the ones I'm going to be bringing up soon. I do not think this is the
Oh
best film
no.
ever made.
You
They're
have
my
Flubber coming
favorites.
up, don't you? Dr.
Hey, that's a
Dolittle.
Robin Williams classic. I stand by both those
I know
movies, but
actually
no.
I won't spoil it. I know for a fact. I bet I know one that you have on here.
Well, why don't you just put that in the vault? Number 5.
Okay.
This may be the one you've guessed for me, Sam, but I will start off with my top 5 pick, and that is The Phantom of the Opera with Emmy Rossum
Oh,
and
that's
Gerard Butler. And
a classic Katie movie. That's not what I
I
was
feel
thinking,
your
but
judgment through the screen. Oh, well, it's only going to get better from here. So, The Phantom of the Opera is initially based on a novel by Gaston Leroux in the early 1900s, 1910, I think. It was obviously also adapted into a Broadway play by Andrew Lloyd Webber and has become iconic for that. But my favorite adaptation of it is easily this movie version with Gerard Butler. It was my first introduction to Gerard Butler when I was a young 11-year-old, I guess, at the time.
that
And it's
long.
just a beautiful visual masterpiece. The music, the costumes, oh my gosh, the masquerade scene is peak cinema. I will die on that hill. And I am a sucker for a toxic romance. The clear choice is right there in Raoul, but the Phantom of the Opera is also there. Poor Christine Daae, a poor orphan growing up in the opera house, doesn't know which one to choose. Her teacher, the Phantom of the Opera with the gruesome face and past, or pretty boy Raoul, who's like a count and everything. So I'll leave it to you to watch the film and see what happens. But a
And he's
beautiful
just like a
triangle,
good
a beautiful
guy.
man. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I
enough.
can't-
All right, like I guess he's a good guy. I've never understood the Raoul love. I am a Phantom girl till I die. I even read the book, and I'm a big Eric fan, which is the Phantom's name if you're really deep into the lore.
They made you read
Um,
that in French, right? In school?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
an advanced French
It's a
class that I
tome.
deeply regret
Yeah,
taking. I
so
also read
no.
Three Musketeers, so they were not playing around, and I retained none of it. But what my main takeaway was, as an 11-year-old, was that not only was I in love with Gerard Butler, but I was weirdly also in love with Emmy Rossum, who's absolutely stunning in the film.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just beautiful. It's so much fun. I love the music. I love the acting. I can't speak to the acting. I love the music. It's a great film for me. I fully enjoy it. My mom and I used to watch this all of the time. It holds such a close memory. It's just a feel good film I love to put on in the background.
Yeah,
So
it
that's
was
number
a
5.
mainstay. It was a mainstay at our house. As a kid, I did not like it at all. But honestly, I think it's a good pick. I can really appreciate the film now. The music is incredible. Like, of course, it's not originally from the movie, but they do an awesome job. We had the benefit of seeing
They
the play.
do.
And honestly, I think the movie is about as good as it could get on the screen, except for the monkey. I don't know, but that was always creeped me out. That's
Oh,
from
with
the
the
Phantom of the Opera,
symbols.
right? The
Do,
symbols,
do, do,
yes.
do. Yeah, yeah, it's a little
Yes,
disturbing.
exactly.
I don't blame you for that.
Yeah.
All right, well, top that, Sam. What's your number 5?
I'm going a little more basic, a little less out of left field. It was hard to choose of the three, but they had to be on there for what not only what they were at the time, but also what they still are today. And that is one of the Nolan Batman movies.
Nice. Which
I'm a
one are you
sucker for
going
the
with,
first
though?
one. Like this was tough. I'm a sucker for the first one, Batman Begins, but I will settle on The Dark Knight because it does deserve all of the praise that it got. Um, the Nolan Batman movies are much more grounded than other superhero films. Christian Bale is Batman. He does. I really like him as Bruce Wayne. I'm not a big comic book guy. I don't know so many Batman's comic book stories, so I can't speak to the authenticity of the character from the paper.
Mm-hmm.
But these films they were great not just because they were grounded, but the story was very fleshed out. They're very human stories. the Joker and Heath Ledger's performance obviously incredible and will be remembered for a long time. But again, like my favorite part of those films is one, the music, and two, it's the relationships between Bruce Wayne, um, oh geez, what's her name? Rachel. I was gonna say Maggie Gyllenhaal. Alfred. Like they do
I love
such a great job
Alfred.
humanizing these characters. The way that they present Gotham, it's cooler in the first one, but still, it's I don't know. You go all over the map with the Dark Knight, and I can't explain it beyond that. It's an IMAX experience, like Nolan films generally are. Um,
No, it's a
but
great film. Great choice. Great
yeah,
choice. And to your
it's a
point,
good number five.
I do feel like Dark Knight at times eclipses the other movies in that trilogy. I love Batman Begins. Cillian Murphy in that movie is haunting. And also, who's Ra's al Ghul? Liam Neeson,
Liam
right?
Neeson, incredible. I
Like
agree. Like Batman
star-studded.
Begins is my preferred one, but I can The Dark Knight I've seen far more. And I if it's on, I will sit through the whole thing because it will just captivate me. If you come in
Yeah.
halfway through Begins, I might not see it through. But
Yeah.
with The Dark Knight, it's much more of like a quicker thrill. I kind of cheated there with that one, but yeah,
You
those
did, but
movies
we'll
are
accept it.
incredible.
All right. Well, if you've seen any of our previous Good Takes videos, my number four shouldn't be a huge surprise. We recently did a Good Takes video comparing Gladiator 1 and Gladiator 2. I think we've said all there is to say on Gladiator 2, so go check that out if you're really interested. But I said it then and I stand by it today. Gladiator is one of my top favorite movies of all time. Our hero, the iconic protagonist Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, the Roman armies of the North, which he commands under Emperor Marcus Aurelius. When crazy Commodus, the son of Marcus Aurelius, kills his father and becomes emperor, Maximus is supposed to be killed. He instead ends up becoming a gladiator, the Spaniard in the arena, and he goes through a number of different trials to try to reinstate Rome to a republic and defeat Commodus. It's an incredible film. Again, I know we've already talked a lot about it. What I will say here and why it's one of my top five is really because of Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix.
Mhm.
Together as the protagonist and the antagonist, they generate such passion and so much emotion. And even though I am a Maximus girl till I die, there's something about Commodus that is like so intriguing and just kind of makes you want to see what he's going to do next, even if you don't necessarily want him to succeed. I also love Roman history. Growing up, I was a big sucker for anything kind of Roman, historically Roman myth, that kind of thing. And so to get that glimpse of Roman life and Roman history was very cool. And they really do a great job of that with the scenery and the film itself. So had to be
No,
on my list
you are
and
right.
proud at
Like
number four.
the acting is incredible, and the
Yeah.
scenery, like the things that made that movie come alive, unsurprisingly, like make that movie. It's very worthy on one of those lists. But again, also the music, the soundtrack to that film is glorious.
So good. And it's such a quotable movie. Like so many
Yes.
incredible quotes from that. Um, yeah, I just love it.
Makes you want to go to
This is
Elysium.
like you say about Dark Knight. Anytime this is on, I will watch it. And yes, I would gladly ride into Elysium if Maximus was commanding me.
Yeah, perfect. Agreed. Yeah, okay. Well then, my number four, I, I'm looking at my list here. I will order them. I didn't really have it, but I'll throw in The Last Crusade, which is the third Indiana Jones
Ooh,
film, and my personal
okay.
favorite. Uh, The Last Crusade follows obviously the titular Indiana Jones, and he's after another holy relic, this time the Cup of Salvation, the Cup of Christ. But what separates this film from the other ones is the relationship he has with his father, who is played by uh,
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Sean Connery. Um, and I forget their name because Indy's real name is shared with Sean Connery's his father's
You're
character,
right.
Junior. He's always calling him Junior. I'm blanking on that name
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
so forgive me for coming a little unprepared in that sense. But he's always calling Indy Junior, and their relationship is so funny. You can see how relatable they are, and there's tension. And like most of the indie films, they take place during a bit before the Second World War, or if not during it, with the uprise of the Nazis. And so these films are just an incredible adventure. I don't think better adventure movies exist. They're classic. They're very archetypal. The theme is incredible. But The Last Crusade is special because I think it is more of a character study between Indy and his father. And the other ones are a little more like rip-roaring, you cracking the whip, shooting the gun. Um, so
Yeah,
that's why
lasso
this one stands
slinging
out. And
content.
the way that I view it is the films after, they didn't come. It ends with The Last Crusade, and it belongs in a museum to be sure.
Wait, wasn't there another one with like Shia LaBeouf in it?
Yes, so there was one, The Crystal Skull, I think it was called, with Shia
Right.
LaBeouf, and then there
Shia
was one
LaBeouf.
that came out about a year or two ago. I never saw it.
Right. So you're just
I quit.
discounting these. They're not part of the
Well,
series in your mind.
the one with Shia LaBeouf had it was about like ancient aliens and
Right.
how like
I'm just to
it's
clarify, you're
ridiculous.
just
No,
discounting them
yes,
from the series.
no, they don't
Okay.
exist, but it doesn't matter because even if they were good, three will is the uncontested champion.
I agree. Out of all of the Indiana Jones films, 3 is the best in my eyes. I love Sean Connery. I don't
So
care.
good.
I love
No,
him.
yeah, oh, he's
First
awesome. Come
introduced as
on.
Bond, but incredible, incredible actor.
Yeah.
I do think I'm going to contest you for best adventure film as we go down, but I think that's a
Okay.
very good one to raise, and we'll see who reigns supreme. But a great film and a great choice for number 4. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this movie, Sam, but this absolutely needed a spot on my list, and that is The Birdcage. The Birdcage is a remake of a classic French film, Le Cage aux Folles. And the idea is, well, the premise of the movie is that it follows a couple, Armand and Albert. They're owners of a drag club in Miami. And Armand has a son who they've both worked together to raise. You know, they've been together since he was a kid. This son comes home and lets his parents know that he is going to be marrying the daughter of a conservative senator. This senator is played by
Uh-oh.
Gene Hackman, and Armand and Albert are played by Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. This is one of the best movies of all time. It is so much fun. Essentially, because this son is marrying this daughter of a conservative senator, he's very worried about the senator's perception of his family. So he essentially asks his parents to go back into the closet and, act like they're from a traditional nuclear family household so that he can earn some standing with this senator and be allowed to marry his daughter. So it obviously addresses heavy topics. There's homophobia suggested throughout, but the takeaway is that the characters are empowered, especially the gay characters. And it's a bit of a fun, lighthearted take on educating a very conservative old school mindset that Gene Hackman's character has. But it is just so much fun, the whole movie. Nathan Lane steals the show. He is iconic. He is the main drag performer at the club. So he is, a performer. He's a celebrity. He's got a little bit of drama and flair that he brings throughout the movie. Robin Williams is also very funny in his role. You even have Hank Azaria, who lives at the house with them. So, I will say that this is a movie from the 90s. I'm not saying it's perfect representation, but it is just so feel good. And I love the characters and I love the actors. And every time this movie is on, I will watch it. Or if I'm just having a bad day, this is my go-to to turn it on, especially if, I'm just not feeling the music of Phantom of the Opera. These two hold that like warm, soft spot in my heart. So had to be on here. It could have even been higher,
Yeah.
but I feel happy giving it a number 3 position.
No, that's a good pick.
Have I?
I don't know. I don't know the film.
I've never made you watch this film.
No, I don't even think I've ever heard of it. So that's good. I'm glad that you brought something because my list is far more basic. I'm surprised because there's a lot. It's a star-studded cast,
It's
but
so good. It
no,
is,
I've
I
never
think
heard of
it's
it.
1999. Oh my gosh, Sam, you have to watch it. I encourage everyone to watch it.
My number
Top
three.
that.
Yeah, I will. It's a little movie called Braveheart. Ever heard of it?
Oh,
Um,
that
William
might be the
Wallace.
polar opposite to my number 3.
Yeah, it could be. But Mel Gibson, oh my God, at his fine in his finest
He's
form,
so
and he's at
attractive in
many
that
fine
movie.
forms. Yes, he is. And so Braveheart is essentially about the Scottish Rebellion after England has conquered Scotland under I believe it's Edward Longshanks. Um, and William Wallace is just a farmer who leads a rebellion essentially against the English. I won't say any more than that. There's a lot of again great characters in this. Again, I'm noticing a theme here. The music, in fact, when I was drafting this list, I realized that the movies that stay with me, it was very difficult to pick. But even the ones that I had on the honorable mention list, it was always films where the soundtrack really stuck with me. So I don't know what that means, but I every movie that I love, is always accompanied with a soundtrack that is excellent, and Braveheart is no better. Even if you don't like the film, you've never seen it, put the soundtrack on while you're studying or working. It is you get the whole suite of human emotions. But anyways, William Wallace's character is fantastic. Mel Gibson is inspiring. The themes within the narrative are awesome. I think that they're noble virtue, self-sacrifice, and fighting for a people. It's so good. Also a very quotable movie. Not so much as Gladiator, but like it captures England and Scotland so well. I mean, I believe it was filmed in Scotland, but it's dreary, it's rainy. It has like that. Not, I think it came out maybe early 90s, I believe.
Sounds
But it
right.
has before films. I don't know if you've noticed, but I find that films today are so saturated. There's the colors, it's super dark and you can't see anything, or it's super bright. And this has this like ghostly kind of veil. I don't know. Anyways, it's a wonderful film. You've seen it, right? Have you seen Gladiator or Braveheart?
No. I know. I know.
No. Oh my God.
I have not seen Braveheart. I have seen The Patriot. And as you first started
Okay.
talking, I was
Also,
like, oh,
an incredible
yeah, that's a
movie.
great movie. But, and I know
Yeah, because you're
completely
saying of his
different
finest
topics.
form. And he's great in The
He's
Patriot. And
very
I think that's
attractive.
pretty close
I
to
think
each
we've
other.
all seen Mel Gibson as Braveheart running through the foggy dew of the Scottish moors, clad in his leathers. Like,
Skirt.
he's
I
an
don't know what they
attractive
call it.
man, okay? I've seen it. I've seen that visual, but no, I have never seen
It's great.
Braveheart, which is
There's a
crazy.
beautiful love story in it.
I love a love
It's,
story.
you should watch it tonight. It's so good.
Okay, here we go. You watch The Birdcage tonight. I will watch Braveheart
Okay.
tonight, and let's see how that might impact
All right.
our
We'll
top
compare notes
fives.
here. Yeah, maybe we'll
We'll
swap
do a whole
lists. I don't
episode
know.
on it, a whole video. Oh my gosh. All right, well, I think this has been strong throughout. So great to see where our top threes are. Two to go. So this is where you're really taking a stand in doubling down on these movies. I felt like a lot of pressure in picking my top three. Very proud with my third choice. Number two for me, it really was no question. And that's the 1999 cinematic masterpiece that is The Mummy with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite movies of all time. In fact, my entire first year at university, back when like Facebook was actually still used by people for social media, Brendan Fraser in his mummy outfit was my profile photo. And I feel like I actually gained a lot of friends in university because of this. It is one of the best movies, and this is the one that I said I felt would contend with The Last Crusade as the best adventure movie of all time. It's amazing. So you've got, British librarian Evelyn, her silly brother, comedic relief Jonathan, trying to find the lost city of the dead in Egypt. They can't do it on their own, so they have to team up with adventurer and all-around stud Rick O'Connell, which is Brendan Fraser. Oh my gosh. So they are in a race to find this lost city of the dead, but they're up against another race of thieves or group of thieves that are also racing to try to find the city. There's mummies, there's adventure, there's ancient Egypt, which I loved Rome
Mm.
back in the day. I think they go hand in hand. If you loved ancient Rome, you also loved ancient Egypt, and I was one of those girls. So being able to have that backdrop of ancient Egypt, all the fun little mythological references, whether legitimate or no, I'm just here to have fun. A glimpse into the tombs, all the adventure, and again, Brendan Fraser, I mean, my God, in this movie,
He's a
this is my
charmer.
number one. Yes, he's
Are you sure
absolute
are you sure you
stud.
don't mean The Mummy with Tom Cruise? I believe from
Don't even.
2018 or something.
Oh my God, stop it.
Have you
That
really
movie
given
does
that
not
the
exist.
consideration it might deserve?
Listen, the same way that the
That was
last
odd.
few Indiana Jones movies don't exist for you, Tom Cruise's Abomination does not exist for me. I have never watched it. I will never watch it. This movie never, even The Mummy 2 is great. Mummy 3, not
Yeah, The Mummy
good.
2 was nice. Yeah, the I agree. The 2 is also good. 1 is the best.
Two,
This was also
yes,
a classic in our household. It was on quite often.
all the
And I
time. I
agree.
love
I don't
it.
think it's the best, but it is fun. I agree with everything you said. It's totally I feel like not to hijack your moment here, but I feel like they don't make movies like that anymore. It's too lighthearted.
No, I
It's just
agree. It just is what it is.
it
There's no big takeaway. It's fun.
yeah,
Like it's candy. It is candy for the mind and the
exactly.
eyes. Beautiful people. Rachel Weisz, gorgeous. Next to Brendan Fraser, gorgeous. You've got I'm blanking on the name of the actor who plays her brother Jonathan. He's a very well known British actor. He's so funny. It's just such a
Mhm.
great character, such a great cast, and it's so much fun. You're right. They don't make movies like this everywhere. Not anymore. Not everything needs to have some big point, you know? Just enjoy
No,
it.
yeah, I agree. I totally
Anyway, I
agree.
loved it. The CGI is terrible, I will say. But I don't care. That's not why I watch a movie. I love it. Number two, standing down, doubling down on it.
It's a good one. I would actually be interested in rewatching that because it's been a long time, probably 20 years, maybe a little
Oh, you
less.
must. You must. It's so good. You will remember why we watched it so often growing up.
Okay, so before I give my number two, I was expecting you to say Homeward Bound. I thought Homeward Bound was making this list,
I
but I know what your
debated
number
so
one is.
much.
So
That is so funny that you said that because I really debated, but in the end, Homeward Bound is just not even that enjoyable of a film. I just enjoy crying at one of the scenes. I'm a sucker for dogs
it
and
was too
anything with
old.
animals in it.
It was too
Honestly, you're going to
old.
make me cry. We're not going to go there. If you haven't seen Homeward
You do
Bound
a
and you have
whole,
no
yeah.
idea what we're talking about, no, stay blessed. Don't hurt yourself like that. If you do know what I'm talking about and you need to unpack this trauma, send me a message and we'll go through it together. But
It's a
no, I
classic. But
couldn't
yeah, I'm
put it on the
surprised.
list. I would have just been crying the whole episode, the
Too
whole
dark, too
video. So,
dreary.
indeed.
All right. Well, my number two is Interstellar. And
I knew
again,
it.
I have a basic list here in some sense. I have seen more movies than just the modern era, but Interstellar is it's crazy. It's a crazy
No
film.
judgment here. It's beautiful.
It is just beautiful. Again, like space is cool and all of that, and how they work with like, oh, I feel like that was one of the first times that people were exposed to the idea of like general relativity in the sense of, time might move slower in a place of the higher gravity, whatever. For those who
Time
don't
is a
know, it
circle. Or wait, is that True
exactly, yeah,
Detective?
that's subjective, but also Matthew McConaughey, so fair enough. Um, Briefly, for those who don't know, it's in the near future, like very near future. The planet Earth has it's going through like a worldwide famine. Crops are dying, and the world is not in a great spot. And so humanity's last hope is to send out some brave expeditioners into space, where a mysterious black hole has appeared, I believe, out off the one of the moons of Saturn. And it's a Hail Mary as to see if there's another habitable planet that can be seeded for life. That is the premise of the film, and it's a cool film, but that is not the most enjoyable part. You got dimensions and whatever. It is again just about the characters, specifically the relationship between Murph, the daughter, Matthew McConaughey's daughter. I forget Matthew McConaughey's character, his name.
Me
I
too.
won't dwell on it. It'll come back to me in a second. It's a father-daughter film. That's what it is. And the backdrop is space, but it's so beautiful. Again, the score is unbelievable. One of the greatest soundtracks I think in a film's history.
Agreed.
And it's just totally human. It is, and the sacrifice that we make for children, our children, um, and the relationship that we have with each other, and how it sounds so cliche, but Anne Hathaway's line, it's like how love can bind time and space. It is this other force. I want to almost
Transcends,
choke on the
rather,
words
right?
coming out. Yes, it transcends all things, and it is the leading. It is the uh, the impetus of the film, and it's really beautiful. It's a masterpiece, visually stunning
I
too.
agree. I agree with everything you said. There's not even anything to add. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. Totally agree with you on the premise, the themes. Interesting, another Michael Caine side character. You love a
Yes,
Michael Caine feature, don't you?
Nolan. Yeah, yeah, I do, I
Another
do.
Nolan, true, true.
I love
I
Kids of
debated
Star.
Interstellar on my list as well. Fabulous, fabulous movie. I'm glad that you gave it the accolades it deserves.
All right,
All
well then
right,
it's time. We've
the
reached the
grand
end.
reveal. Now, for anyone who has watched any of our earlier Good Takes videos, there's a common theme among our favorite works, and that is that we are massive Lord of the Rings fans. So, Sam, I'm just going to go out on a limb and assume that your number one is the Lord of the Rings trilogy, as is my own.
Uncontested.
Yeah, yeah, zero
That
surprise
will
there.
never change. It has not changed. The following, the under four might be swapped out with Alien, The Revenant. I don't know. The Lord of the
The
Rings will remain.
Prestige.
The Prestige, unbelievable Nolan film. Also slept on. I feel like people don't talk about The Prestige.
I've really
But
thought about
anyways, we're
that one
talking about
too.
The Lord of the Rings. So like I don't want to derail us there, but I had to. But the point is The Lord of the Rings stands above all others,
I
and it
fully
always
agree.
will.
It is the best, not just trilogy, it is just the best movie I've ever seen. It is the most immersive movie I've ever seen. I we watch them every year together. It is the kind of film that I could start the first one, finish the third, and immediately start the first one again. It is the most epic
Agreed.
story of all time. It has adventure. It has a little bit of romance. It has love. The brotherhood of Frodo and Sam, and then more than that, the in-depth characters. Boromir, the
Mm.
most human of them all, who has his failings, but in the end gives his life for those he loves. Aragorn, the archetypal man who is in touch with his emotional side and his strength, and his emotional strength, his physical strength, just a badass embodiment of a man. You've got this ultimate Dark Lord. Oh my God, I could just continue to go on. Every element of the story we can thank
And the
Tolkien for, but
music. Well,
exactly, the
Tolkien didn't do the
music.
music, so because I
No,
agree with that. Tolkien, obviously, it's Tolkien's world. An unbelievable soundtrack
it is unbelievable.
carries
It
you
is
through.
the best soundtrack to film that I've ever heard. I listen to the soundtrack all of the time when I'm working or just, on a long distance drive. It's always on.
And you can trace the film through the soundtrack, and you just hear the lines.
Yeah.
Um,
In fact, that moment at the end of Fellowship when Sam and Frodo clasp hands, there's a swell in
mm,
the Shire music, and I know every time what's happening in the movie, and I get emotional.
exactly. No, again, you said it perfectly. Um, Top tier films, always enjoyable. And so we're kind of again cheating here, but much like the books, I consider The Lord of the Rings one novel, right? It's
It is
broken up
one
into six books,
story.
three, whatever. But yes, I think that the films, I don't think you have either, maybe you have. I have never sat down and watched one in a vacuum. It's never happened. I've only ever
Oh
watched
yeah,
them from one to three. So they're one.
yeah.
It would be heretical to just put on the Two Towers on a
I have
Monday.
gone to see them
No.
in the symphony where, one year you go see number one, the next year you go see number two. And so I went to see number two having not watched Fellowship. And I immediately had to finish it through and watch Return of the King. But other than
Good.
those stilted moments where it was an event based thing, and it also felt very foreign and unusual to me. I felt like I was cheating on the whole series by watching them out of order like that. But I agree with you. They have to be watched all as one. So just to spice this up then, knowing we've both got the same number one answer, what would you say is your favorite Lord of the Rings movie if you had to pick one of the three?
It is difficult. When I was a boy, it was The Return of the King. But for the last 10 plus years, it has remained The Fellowship of the Ring. For the reasons that you mentioned just about the film, I think it captures all of those character elements the best. You have Boromir, outside of like Denethor's visions. Gandalf the Grey, he's as good as it gets. It's The Fellowship. It's just the Hobbiton, the Shire.
Yeah,
What more could you
yeah.
want?
No, it's a good point.
What about yourself?
Well, it's funny you say that you used to say Return of the King. I would say I used to say The Two Towers was my favorite. I love the Rohirrim. I love that
Mhm.
whole element of the movie, and I love the Battle of Helm's Deep. It is iconic. So that was always my favorite growing up, but I am with you, especially as, you just get older and you start to realize what really matters. And that initial joy and partnership developed in the fellowship, even though they're going to try to take over an undefeatable dark lord, essentially going down a journey that feels unwinnable and hopeless. There's so much hope in the beginning of that, and
Yes.
being able to see the elements of all the fellowship members come to life. Of course, our man Boromir having his big moment in fellowship, it has to be my number one.
Yeah, agreed.
But I maintain they are one story.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
real
no, I
answer is all
agree. You
three.
can't
But
really
if we're
choose,
forced,
right? But yes, exactly. Anyways, that's totally deserved. Your list was good. Um, I've never seen the Birdcage, but I can see it. You have a lot
My
of
list was
throwbacks.
good.
I
Good
think
feels
you're,
like
yeah,
where's your
that's
butt?
a good take. I don't know. No, there's no but. I wasn't expecting actually. Like I knew that you loved The Mummy. I knew about your Fraser, whatever obsession from when we were much
George of the
younger. And
Jungle? Oh,
yeah,
god damn
yeah,
it.
fantastic
Beautiful
film.
man.
Again, I
Yeah, it's
haven't seen that
surprising a
since we had
little
it on
bit.
VHS. But anyways, I wasn't. They were nice. I appreciated them because they're actually rooted in more of like what we grew up watching. Which
Yeah,
I
for
didn't really
sure.
consider a lot of these. Like I joked at the beginning about like Flubber or Doctor Dolittle or whatever. I am surprised also that neither it crossed my mind. I'm sure it did yours as well. Was to throw in a Disney animated film, something like The Lion King or Aladdin. But
Yeah, I mean,
I
not
thought you were gonna have one of those for sure.
really. I mean, I do. Everyone knows. I love an animated movie. I absolutely do. And I think Aladdin is probably my favorite one of all time if I had to pick one. But, what I was thinking of when I put this list together is what are movies that either when they're already on, I have to sit down and watch, or when I
Mhm.
don't know what to watch, what do I put on just to feel good?
Yeah,
And all of these movies, if I just, had some free time, wanted to throw in a film, any of these five, and honorable mention Jurassic Park would absolutely be something I would put on. So I just kind of went for that comfort feel. What is my favorite in terms of I'm always going to go back to it? I think I was also surprised with some of your lists. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is such a great film that I haven't watched in years. And it's so interesting to hear you say that. And I do think if we just even continue to talk about some of the movies we watched growing up, we would be like, oh my God, right, that one. Oh,
definitely.
that deserves a call out. So, maybe we can do more of these where we keep it by genre or decade or something like that. Because,
Hmm.
like you said at the beginning, we grew up watching films, we love movies. And I feel like, this is a strong list in terms of favorites, but there's a lot more great ones that we could give a shout out to.
Absolutely. They deserve their spot in the sunshine.
Well, maybe that's what we'll do next time, but you have it here now. Here's our top five list. A little different when you look at mine versus Sam's, but hey, throw it on your watch list. Tell us which list you resonate with the most, which one sucks, because we're open to a good take or a hot take anytime. So if you have any hot takes on any of our options, let us know and share your own list. We'd love to know what your top five are as well.
Agreed.
All right. Well, until next time.